In the files of Mario Odyssey, there exists a list of 76 enemies and objects at one point in time you could capture. Hello, I'm Sam, and today I'll be going over these could captures, how they would have behaved, what they looked like, and where they might have been found. However, I won't be going over any objects that are obviously just for testing, or any Japanese names I couldn't find translations for. Shoutouts to Amethyst, who made another great video on this subject you should check out after this one. You have different interpretations of some of the captures, so hers is definitely worth watching with the link in the description. First off is Baku Baku, which could actually be two enemies. Cheap Chomp's Japanese name is Baku Baku, but Mattermouse is actually referred to as Baku Baku in the files of Mario Galaxy. Cheap Chomps would probably act similarly to Cheep Cheeps with the added ability to eat stuff. Mattermouse, on the other hand, would have had the ability to eat through floors like in Galaxy, which could have provided for some interesting moons. Next is B, which probably would have acted similarly to B Mario from Galaxy. Big Bros refers to Sludge Bros, which probably wouldn't have behaved too differently from the Hammer Bros we have now. Next up is Big Mouse. Now there is an enemy from Virtual Wario Land called Big Mouse, although this was probably just meant to be an original enemy. Next up is Big Statue Possessed. This was likely meant to be a large form of Jizo or other statue. Now we have Binta-kun. Binta is a Japanese word for slapping, so this was some sort of original enemy with the ability to slap stuff. Next we have Bound Ball, which was probably just a test form of the Shivarian capture. Now we have Bofin, which is the Japanese onomatopoeia for falling onto a soft surface, so maybe this was some sort of Cloud Kingdom capture. Next is Boss Tail Child. I'm not too sure what this would have been. My best idea is that this was part of the Mecha Wiggler fight at some point. Chameleon is up next, which obviously would have been a chameleon. That would be a cool capture, although I failed to think of too many moons where blending into the environment would come in handy. Perhaps a sort of stealth mission. Next is City Man Flying, which might have been related to the flying taxis we see in the background of New Donk City. Now we have Corn Boy, which actually still has some code left. The way it moves and its relation to food kinda makes me think that this might have been an early form of the Vault Bonin capture that would have been able to freely move around instead of being stuck in one place. Next is Crawler, which is actually what Ant Troopers are called in the files of Captain Toad, implying we could have gotten an Ant Trooper capture at some point. Next is Dinosaur and Dinosaur Big. This may have been an early form of the T-Rex capture, although this could also be a different type of dinosaur like we see in the concept art for Cascade Kingdom. Dumpling Man is self-explanatory, though I'm not too sure what its purpose would be. It probably would have been in Bowser's Kingdom due to the Chinese theming. Electric Man is also self-explanatory, either being a Metro Kingdom or Cloud Kingdom capture with the ability to control electricity. It might also just be those spark pylons now that I think about it. You might recognize this next capture if you played Super Mario Party. It's Flutter, aka Wiggler with Wings. This might not just be a normal Flutter too. This could have been a tropical variation of Flutters given how the only Wigglers we see are also tropical. Force Man Seed was probably just a test version of those robots that give you nuts in the Wooded Kingdom. Frog Big was probably, maybe, potentially, possibly a larger form of the frog capture. Grasshopper Robo is kinda self-explanatory, being a robotic grasshopper. Probably would have been in Metro Kingdom due to that being the most modernized kingdom we see. Handle Car is up next. My best guess is that this is meant to be a car drawer handle. At one point you could have opened the door to a taxi and rode inside it. Next up is Ice Climber. My first instinct would be the Ice Climbers from Smash, but this is probably just an original Snow Kingdom capture. Now we have Ika-kun. Ika means family, which makes me think of Blooper Nanny, but it's probably just another original capture because if they wanted to add a Blooper Nanny, they would just call it Blooper Nanny. Next is Koma-chan. Koma, in Japanese, refers to a spinning top, which reminds me of the Top Man enemies from Mario Galaxy. Next is Kuromando, which translates to Black Window. There exists another file called Kuromando Magic Ball, which implies that this would have been able to shoot some sort of projectile. There's also a character from some cooking anime called Kuromando. Quite frankly, I don't know what Kuromando would have been like, but I do know that you should subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. It really helps. Line Dancer would have been, well, a line dancer. Probably would have had to dance to get a moon at some point, and so you would have to take control of a line dancer. Launcher Coin Cap was likely just an early form of those hat launchers, where you captured them instead of it just launching your cap for you. Magnet D was probably just a test, but the idea of a magnetic capture is really cool. Maki Maki is an interesting capture, because this is an enemy from Yoshi's Crafted World, a game which released after Mario Odyssey, meaning that this enemy was meant to appear here first, possibly in Cascade Kingdom due to the Yoshi connection. Next up is a Morningstar hack. Now, from what I've heard, hack in Mario Odyssey's code usually refers to capturing something, meaning at some point in time we might have been able to capture a Morningstar, possibly in Ruined Kingdom. Next up is Noko Noko, which is the Japanese name for the Koopa Troopa. It's a shame we never got these. I imagine rolling around in a shell like in 3D World would have been fun. Next is Oil Walker, which obviously would have walked on oil, potentially being a capture in Metro Kingdom. Party Popper likely would have been a capture during the New Donk Festival, where you could turn into it and then pop it. Penguin probably would have been a Snow Kingdom capture with the ability to slide on their stomach like in Mario 64. Pole Jump's probably just a test form of those Metro Kingdom poles. Punch Machine might have been a test form of Bowser's weird boxing glove hat. Next is Recorder. I guess at some point you could have played some music and gotten a moon. Next is Ribbon Beamer, which I believe was another Metro Kingdom Festival capture where you could shoot out ribbons. Runner might refer to Koopa Free Runner, where Mario would capture one instead of just running himself. Next is Sand Shark, which was either A, the actual animal Sand Shark, or B, a shark that swam through Sand Kingdom kinda like sand seals from Breath of the Wild. Either way, it would have been a cool capture. The Scarecrow capture implies at some point you were meant to capture the Scarecrows rather than just throw your hat on them. Shielder was clearly some shield-based capture, potentially being found in the Ruined Kingdom. Next is Shinobi, which is Japanese for ninja, which makes me think of the Ninja enemy, but if it was supposed to be ninjas, then they would have probably called it a ninja. Next is Skater, which would have fit well in Snow or Metro Kingdom. Spider Hang would have been an interesting capture, possibly being another Rune capture. Space Shuttle was probably just a test form of those subworld rockets. Stake was probably a test form of those wooden stakes you see everywhere, implying that you used to capture them instead of throwing out your hat and pulling them out. Stick Fighter was either someone who fights with a stick, or the funnier option, a literal stick that could fight. Teresa is the Japanese name for the Boo enemy, meaning at some point, Boos were planned for Mario Odyssey. They probably would have acted like Boo Mario from Galaxy and had a prominent role in the Ruined Kingdom. Tornado Hacked implies we would have been able to control a tornado at some point, which would have been cool, but I don't know what it would have been used for. Torpedo likely refers to the aquatic form of Bullet Bill, called Torpedo Teds. They probably would have appeared in the two water-based kingdoms and would act similarly to Bullet Bills. Yokin is the Japanese word for bank deposit, probably being a Metro Kingdom capture. Zinnicon is Japanese for general contractor, which would be yet another Metro Kingdom capture. It might have acted like Builder Mario does in Mario Maker 2. If you want to learn about the scrapped third Oracle game, click here. Stay hydrated, and I'll see you next time. Bye.